look up. Ha! Made you look. Hey everybody, welcome back to the video, and today we are finally getting to talk about Superman. From 2025, directed by James Gunn, starring David Cornsweet. Not to be confused with, other Superman content out there, like the original Superman movie. Although I think that one's technically officially titled Superman the Movie, so technically it is different. But you know what I mean. We're talking about Superman, originally titled Superman Legacy until the title was changed. Yeah, so, man, we finally get to talk about it. So, in case you probably don't know, I don't know if I talk about Superman too much on this channel, but so I wanted to give you some background context before going into my review of this film. So Superman has never really been my favorite character. I've always liked the character, but he was never my favorite. I've always just preferred other characters, like Spider-Man, like Batman, like Green Arrow. I preferred Green Arrow, yeah, The Flash. So Superman was never really one of my favorite characters, but I did always like the character. I would check out whatever he was in, movie, TV show. I freaking love Superman and Lois. I love that show a lot. And I've also enjoyed some of the, when it comes to the movies, I really enjoyed that original Superman movie from the 70s. I personally really liked Man of Steel. The other ones aren't bad. Okay, some of them are. But I want to talk about those in a ranking video. So, not going to talk too much about those, but let's just say, not the best track record, but the OG and Man of Steel I really like. And then when this movie was announced, I was also someone who really wanted, during the DCEU, Henry Cavill to get his Man of Steel too, because of the fact that the DCEU was still going, so Henry Cavill was still our Superman, but they refused to use him, and it was infuriating. Then the whole Black Adam end credit scene, and I was so excited because he was back, and then DC became under new management, the DCEU ended, Henry Cavill was no longer a Superman, and they're doing a full-fledged reboot, and David Cornsweet was our new Superman. And although I was very sad and disappointed because I really wanted to see Henry Cavill get his sequel, I was also kind of looking forward to it because, hey, a new version of Superman, David Cornsweet looked like he could be fun. James Gunn has not let me down with comic book movies yet, so I was looking forward to it. And the closer we got to it, like when they dropped that very first teaser trailer, my excitement went from, yeah, I'm excited, to I cannot wait for this movie. And the closer we got, the more excited I got. And in case you're curious, I got to see this at the early Amazon Prime showing. So that was really cool. Also, I ended up seeing it in Cinemark's XD. Normally I go to an AMC, but there were no AMCs doing the Prime showing near me, so I had to do a Cinemark. Which, hey, Cinemark's not bad either. I got the Krypto popcorn bucket that they had. And so getting all of that context out of the way, let's get to what I thought. What did I think of Superman? And well, if I'm being completely honest with you, I thought it was super.
Say that again?
I'm sorry. I had to. I couldn't resist. Whoops, taking a selfie apparently. I couldn't resist. But, so yeah, I really liked this movie. I had a blast. So let's dive into it. So let's just start with this world, because this is launching the DCU, a brand new DC cinematic universe. And I think it does a great job at doing so. It introduces us to this new world that is already populated by superheroes. It's not like other things we've seen before where this is the introduction. It's not like the OG Superman or Man of Steel where there's already established superheroes. This is a world where superheroes already exist. And it's not even like Iron Man, which kickstarted the MCU, because it was really the only superhero. Now I know technically there were superheroes before him chronologically, but they weren't as well known. You know what I mean. In this world, superheroes exist, and they have for a long time. So it is not weird for there to be a guy with all these powers flying around the city, because that is kind of normal for this world. And I think it does a great job at establishing that this feels like a lived-in DC world, but still a young DC world where we don't have the Justice League with Batman and Aquaman and Wonder Woman. But we do have the Justice Gang with Guy Gardner's Green Lantern, Hawkgirl, and Mr. Terrific. And I think it just does a great job of setting up this universe, and it does make me want to see more of this universe, not only with Superman, because I definitely do want to see a Superman 2. I want to see more of the characters we saw in this film, but also just more of this already established world. I am very excited for the future. Adding to that, moving on to the cast and the characters, think this movie is perfectly cast. Every actor just is the character they're playing. David Cornsweet, an amazing Superman. I watched this movie, he is Superman. Rachel Brosnahan, I hope I'm saying her name right, a great Lois Lane. I thought she did an amazing job of bringing this character to life. Nicholas Hoult, possibly a show stealer. He was incredible in this role, and this version of Lex Luthor is so despicable and hateable, probably the most hateable Lex Luthor there is, which is funny because I find Nicholas Hoult as a actor, at least in interviews, to be very likable, but he's so hateable in this movie, and it is awesome. Even if we move into like some of the more side characters, Nathan Fillion as Guy Gardner, Isabella Merced as Hawkeye. I just called her Hawkeye. Hawk Girl. And Mr. Terrific, whose name I'm kind of forgetting right now. Oh, and even Jimmy Olsen, whose name I'm also forgetting. I don't remember everybody's name, okay? But everybody did an amazing job portraying these characters. I found the Justice Gang to also be very enjoyable without taking too much of the spotlight from Superman. I know that was one of the worries going into this film was, oh no, are they putting too many superheroes in the Superman movie? Are they going to steal the show? Is this going to be a Justice League movie starring Superman? No, it is not. This is Superman starring Superman. And they just help add to the world and the story, and they do a great job at doing so. Like I said, this cast is great. Also very funny because I just saw Isabella Merced as Dina in The Last of Us Season 2, and now she's Hawkgirl. She's just going everywhere. When is she joining the MCU? I feel like it's going to happen. She's like, just like Pedro Pascal, invading every franchise, which means I won't surprise me if we see Pedro Pascal in the DCU eventually either. It's probably going to happen. These two, they're slowly getting around. That didn't sound the way I wanted it to, but you know what I mean. Anyway, moving on, the movie also has some great action scenes and some really cool shot action scenes. I did really enjoy some of the cinematography in this and some of the camera movements and the shots that they did. I just thought it was really cool and visually stunning. Also, it's just like when it comes to cinematography, opposed to Man of Steel, which is very much darker colors, this movie is so bright and colorful, and it's kind of awesome. It also has some, to me personally, some really funny comedy. A lot of jokes had me laughing out loud. I really enjoyed it. And then when it comes to like Superman specifically, because I feel like I didn't talk about enough about Superman specifically, I talked about how David Cornsweet was great. I really liked how Superman was written in this film. I loved his mannerisms. I loved how he talked, how he acted, how he really is just this really kind person who just wants to do good and wants to help people. But he does have a story arc, a character arc, and he's still kind of discovering who he is because of some stuff that happens in the story that I won't discuss due to spoilers. He still learns new things about his heritage, about who he is, and it is awesome. Krypto is awesome. I know some people were a bit nervous about them introducing Krypto into this movie, which I don't understand why. I was hyped for the moment they said he was going to be in the movie. But Krypto is great. There isn't too much an overbearing amount of Krypto, but nor is he like barely in the film. He is in a good portion. They use him very well. He gets some great laughs, but also some emotions, which, I mean, it's a dog. If there's a dog in the movie, there's going to be emotions. If not, do you even have a heart? But there's laughs and emotions with him, and it's just done so well, and I love Krypto. He's the goodest boy. Okay, he's not really a good boy. He's a bad boy sometimes, but he's a good bad boy. Bad boys are cool, aren't they? So it's okay. We'll give Krypto the pass. Anywho, back to what I was saying. I also personally felt that the movie was pretty well paced. It felt like it moved at a quick pace, but it didn't really feel rushed to me. That could change upon rewatches, but to me personally, going off of just seeing it one time, the movie felt paced very well to me. And also, I really liked the score that they had in this movie, especially, I mean, it's a Superman movie. I feel like we're coming off movies with great scores. Like I said, that original Superman movie, that score is still iconic to this day, and they implement that into this movie. The Man of Steel score is great. This score here, I also think, is great and really good. Now, I have very little flaws with the movie personally, again, after one watch. Sometimes seeing it a second time, maybe a third time, kind of think about seeing it at least one or two more times. I could find more flaws as I rewatch it, but as right now, I don't really have any. Some of the very few I have is there is a lot of exposition in the film, and to me, it was very easy to get behind because I know the comic books. I understand this world. This is the world I live in. I understand who these characters. I knew who all these characters were before watching this film, or for the most part. I'm not going to tell you I'm an expert. I'm not like, I don't know every detail about Guy Gardner or Hawkgirl or Metamorpho or Mr. Terrific. No, but I knew who these characters were going into the film. I had a good idea of who they were. So that there is that. So for people who aren't as familiar, who don't know who these characters are, maybe that could be a bit overbearing. It's possible, but for me personally, it wasn't. And yeah, there is a lot going on. The movie can be chaotic at times, but again, to me, it was fine. It was fun. So there's that. It can be very comic booky at times, which to me is awesome. They do not shy away from it. Unlike other films, which are done really well, where they feel like they're grounded movies that could happen in our world, where there's something small and fantastical happening. This movie is not in our world. This is in a comic book world. This is a world that is not ours because there are superheroes, there are kaijus as you saw in the trailer, there are dogs that can fly. So, because there are, like Man of Steel, for example, what if an alien with these powers came to Earth in our world? One of the reasons why I like that movie. This movie is no. We're going to this world where superheroes are everywhere. And I really enjoyed it, but I could see it being a flaw for some people. One more thing I personally would have liked a bit more of is I personally would have liked a bit more of the Clark Kent Superman duality. There is a little bit of it in this film, but I would have liked a bit more. I do enjoy the hero trying to balancing their two lives, and I really enjoy that with like some of the other Superman movies. So I wish there was a bit more of that here, and we get very little. There's some, but very little. But similarly to like the Batman, I think they could fix this with a sequel. Just give us a sequel. We now know a bit more. We spent some time with Superman. Now we can get a sequel where he has to juggle it a bit more. So I would have liked more of that, but still really enjoyable. One more thing I almost forgot to mention is that there's also a good amount of heart and emotion in this film that I really enjoyed whenever we had different things with like Ma and Pa Kent, as well as interactions with Krypto and other moments that I won't dive too much into in this video. There was heart and there were some emotions. I could feel the feels, and I really enjoyed that. There wasn't as much of it as I was kind of expecting with it being a James Gunn movie. Like, there's nowhere near as much tears and emotion as, like, say, the Guardians of the Galaxy films, but there is still enough heart and emotion, and I really enjoyed that as well. Alright. I've been talking longer than I thought I was going to for a spoiler-free review. I probably will do a spoiler review. I'm undecided. We'll see after I see it once or twice more. But yeah, so overall, I really did enjoy this movie a lot. And the big question: should you see this in theaters? Here's the thing, my personal opinion: if you are a Superman fan, if you are a superhero fan, if you're a DC fan, if you're a comic book fan, if you're a fan of anything of that, then yes, go see this in the theaters, see it day one. I think if you are a fan of any of that stuff, or if you're a fan of James Gunn, see this in theaters, because I think you're going to have a blast with it. Now here's the thing, more casual fans who maybe aren't big into that, should you see it in theaters? Ooh, that's where it gets a bit harder. I'm gonna say, if you have the money and the time, yes, go see it in theaters. But say you're running low on money and or time, then maybe wait for streaming. But if you got the money, you got the time, and the trailers interest you, see it in theaters. And if you are a fan of Superman, superheroes, comic books, anything like that, you should be seeing it opening night. But yeah, thank you guys for taking the time to watch this video. If you like it, please hit like. If you want to see more reviews, I've reviewed a whole bunch of stuff. Go check out my Thunderbolts review also. To keeping that the comic book movies going. And Fantastic Four's not that far away either. So subscribe so you know when I review that. And a spoiler review of this. If it happens. It might. We'll see when. Oh, and also I want to rank the Superman movies. We'll see what happens. But yeah, thanks for watching this longer than I expected video. I hope to see you guys next time. Bye.